All right. Well, it's 12 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm sure we'll have a lot more people joining us. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Nicole Masson. I'm the executive manager for APA Utah. I took over for Judy Bickel a couple years ago and was helping her the year before. We are excited to present to you guys the forum we've been working hard on and we're still working on and working to improve and make sure it's a super useful resource for you guys. And I'll also introduce to you Nate Gibby. Nate is the person behind the APA Utah website, and he designed this forum for us to start utilizing. So Nate is planning, we're planning to talk about the changeover from the listserv, and we're going to be talking about sort of the differences between the listserv and the new forum and how you can access it, how you can follow the taxonomy, where you can post and view topics, following different subjects, and then kind of just troubleshooting any issues that you might run into. And then towards the end, we'll try to leave some time for some FAQ and all of that good stuff. If you guys have any questions as we're going through, you can pop it in the chat or, possibly raise hand, right, Nate? Would that work? Okay, because we will have quite a few folks on today. All right. Okay. So Nate, will you take it away?
Yes, thank you very much, Nikki. Good to meet all of you, at least virtually. Some of you I've met before. Most of you I have not, but I'm coming to you live and direct from Salt Lake, but it looks like we've got people from all over the state joining us. So I wish you well in your planning efforts, whatever they may be, first of all. Now, as Nikki mentioned, again, my name is Nate Gibby and my company is called SurfWorks. We've been working on the APA website. I want to say we've been working with APA for coming up on 10 years now in various capacities. So we started this forum project about 8 or 9 months ago, I want to say, and launched it 4 or 5 months ago. And we'll start by, as Nikki mentioned, talking about why we did this, because I know it's not without controversy and it's not going to be a panacea and a perfect solution. But if you can understand some of the rationale behind it, hopefully that will take care of some of the, at least provide some understanding. So as we get into this, I'm going to share my screen if I might. Here, give me one quick second.
Yeah.
And just as an FYI, we are recording this session. So we'll put.
Oh,
sorry, somehow I got muted. We'll put this on the website so that if you want a little refresher on how to use the forum, that will be made available to you later. So that being said, let's get into what the difference is between this and the listserv. I've got 2 screens. Nikki, are you seeing the one that's got your logo on it?
yeah.
Good. Just needed to make sure I'm sharing the right one. First of all, you should know that about a year ago this time, that the providers of the listserv service came to, I want to say, Nikki, and told her that it was reaching its end of life and they were going to discontinue it and we needed to come up with a different solution. So our hand was forced to start looking at other things, and then looking at other listserv options. We started comparing that with doing what's called a forum, which is a little bit different, and which is where we landed on. But the short of it is that they were, not only did they discontinue the service, we couldn't even get the data out of it. We tried for months to try to get them to do a data dump, and we got basically nothing that was usable, and had to get pressed to try to get something up that could take its place. which brought us to where we are today with this forum. I don't know, Nikki, if you would care to comment on that before I move on.
No, I know that the listserv was a much loved resource, super, user friendly as you don't need an account. You could just send something to the email. So we understand all those grievances and we recognize that it's a little bit of a learning curve to switch over to this new resource. But as Nate talks us through, the benefits, hopefully we can start seeing those benefits here as more people get on there and start utilizing it.
Thank you. So fundamentally, this works a little differently, where, as Nikki mentioned, the way the listserv would work is you would send an email to a particular address, and it would send an email out with your question or comment to everyone who was on the list. And if you wanted to reply, you replied, and it would reply to everyone. So the forum works a little bit different. This list that you're seeing demonstrates some of the similarities as well as some of the differences. Where yes, you can have a user registration and account. You can create topics and comment on those, or you can reply to different issues. The difference with forum is it gives us a taxonomy. Because one of the drawbacks to the listserv is it was impossible to organize any of the comments or emails. And if you wanted to go and look something up, there was a difficult search process. The advantage is you would get automated email notifications. Problem being is that was not curated at all, so everyone would receive all emails regarding all topics and all discussion. Forum works a little differently in that it does send out automated email notifications. The difference being is this allows you to curate what you're being notified about, and you can subscribe to various either topics. We'll walk through how to do this later. You can also subscribe to specific discussions. And so there's a lot more flexibility there so that you can receive the content that is most germane to you. The other thing about the forum is we were able to get the software that we use was able to integrate directly within the website. So it's all tied into one place, as opposed to having to go to a separate URL to look at any of the topics or any topics you might be interested in. Both allowed us to moderate the topics, but the forum also allows us to moderate users to prevent abuse. Even though it was handy with the listserv to be able to submit a topic via email, right now the forum is set up so that the topic or conversation needs to be submitted via the website. There may be a possibility of adding an email submission process down the road in phase 2. We're looking into that. You can also do a keyword search. So that's a high-level overview. There's some more differences in the specifics, but that gives you an idea as to, one, why we had to switch off of the listserv, why we chose to go with the forum, and how it's different and similar to what you may have used previously. I don't know if there are any questions on that before we move on. Nicole, stop me if we need to look at that, if you wouldn't mind keeping an eye on the chat window in case we need to answer questions.
Yep, no questions so far, but feel free to put them in and I will make sure Nate gets them.
Great. So if you come to the APA website, which hopefully you all are familiar with, it is apa.org for the URL, just in case. On our navigation here, we've added this button called the forum. And it's as easy as clicking on that, and it will bring you to the forum itself. And again, unfortunately, because we weren't able to get any data out of the prior listserv, which is now completely offline, we've had to start from scratch, and we have a good handful of topics. And with Nikki and a small committee, we came up with about, well, not quite a dozen high-level categories that serve as a taxonomy for the various topics and issues that you regarding planning that you may want to discuss. And you can see they're here on my screen, everywhere from area sections where we have topics that are germane to the various areas as defined by APA Utah throughout the state, to content for citizen planners, job seekers, general planning topics, code and ordinances. You can see how that works. This shows you the number of topics and posts, as well as the last and latest topic or post. Once you get into these, then you can subscribe to them. So that being said, first thing you need to do is, if you want to, you can scroll through and view any of the content here without creating an account or without needing to register or log in. However, if you want to create any topics, or if you would like to reply to any of them, you do need to have an account and you do need to be logged in. This button right here pops up this window that I will show you. You log in and it brings you back to the same page. I have a different browser window open so that if you were to register, it's the same process. You just click sign up over here on the right side. You create a username, an email, password. You can also sign in using your Google account if you so choose. So once you are logged in, you can see again, there's a button here that changes to log out if you need to get out of it. But let's take a deeper dive into one of our topics, and we'll look at planning. So again, planning is a very broad and high level category. There are a lot of things within it. And as you're logged in, you can both create some of these topics. So if something is in there that you think, or is not in there, excuse me, is missing that you think should be, you scroll below the topics, you can give it a title, give it a description and tag, and start up a conversation around that topic. You can check this box down here to be notified of any replies to that topic. You can also subscribe up here in the top right. Of course, I've already subscribed to it, so you can see once you're subscribed, you can click on that unsubscribe to stop following it. That being said, if we look at a specific conversation point, you can see this one regarding funding and grant resources for planning was created by our very own Nikki Masson, where she has various resources that any planner could look at to try to start to look for grants. So there are several replies to it. To reply to it, it's it's really simple. You just scroll down to the comments below that and simply type in your reply. It has what's called a WYSIWYG editor that gives you some slight control over your post or your comments. WYSIWYG standing for what you see is what you get. Don't ask me, didn't make it up. It's just what they call it. And you can tag it and then again notify and then submit to reply to any of the topics that are here at hand.
Sorry, you're about to do that. I was just going to say, show them how to navigate back to the forum, and looks like that's where you're headed.
That's correct. So as always, Nikki's one step ahead of at least me, if not the rest of us. But you'll see this, to go back, we have this breadcrumb trail that allows you to hit both the APA home page, the forum landing page, as well as this particular topic. Up here to the right, you can either favorite a topic. I've currently got this one favorited because, well, I like getting free money, and or you can subscribe to it, right? So all I do is click, and then that changes to unsubscribe. I can unfavorite it. Again, I can be notified of these topics. Now, if we come back to our forums and we come back to planning that shows all of the conversations going on within the planning as a higher level category with a bunch of topics underneath it, you can subscribe to both a specific topic or conversation thread, as well as a specific category like planning. So what this means is that if I care about this only funding and grant resources, I can subscribe to just that, or I can just subscribe to every conversation point that is that comes within the category of planning, and I will be notified of all of those items. Again, I can give it a tag. We talked about that. If I describe this when this says normal versus sticky or super sticky, not all of you may see that, but if you do, that means that it will keep that topic at the top of the list. If it's sticky, it will prioritize it. If it's super sticky, it will prioritize it above all other priorities. It allows you to see who has posted what. So if we look at Nikki's particular topics, this gives us an idea as to some of the things she may have started. So we can see all of the posts that she's created and trying to seed these, but there are others that have also created posts. We can look at her replies, her favorites, and so on and so forth. So any questions up to this point?
Nothing on the chat, but does anyone have any questions about sign-in or anything we've covered so far? Feel free to unmute.
Sure, I have a question, if that's all right.
Let's hear it.
So you use the phrase notify when I can't remember if it was like if you're subscribed to a thread, I think, and there's a new post or something, and that notification occurs by email or
Yes, via email.
Okay. So you maybe you can just clarify that process because I came in a few minutes late for me. Hopefully that's not too duplicative for others, but you subscribe to a thread and then you just get notifications. Is that correct? Or what do you need to do to get notifications on a particular issue? Like
That's correct. First, you have to register. You have to be registered, and whatever email you have on file that with which you register is the email to which it will send the notification. So if I come here to our housing category, and we can see that our good friend Bruce Parker has created this topic, and if I hit subscribe, now anytime someone creates a responds to this post, I should get the notification.
Okay.
I hate to submit this test because it will stick in there, and I guess we could go back in and delete it, but we don't want to put junk content in there.
So when it responds, when you respond to would you get a notification when you respond to a specific post or to the affordability topic generally, or are those the same thing?
So the way the notifications work is it has the flexibility to do either and or both. So for example, I click affordability. I click to subscribe to that. So now anytime someone clicks to this specific topic, I will get the email notification of that. Now, if I were to come back at either of these, if we go back to our breadcrumb trail that we're digging deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole, but if I were to come all the way back up here to planning challenges, I could subscribe to all of these things so that anytime anyone posts in any of these categories, I will get a notification of those as well. So it can be it can be fairly global. The notifications could be fairly global, or they can be very specific to specific conversations. Does that answer your question, Brandon?
Yes, and as I recall, what I saw was an RFP section. So it would seem that you could change those, adjust your subscription notification settings for that
Correct.
topic. Okay.
We have a question from Liz. Liz, that's correct. She said in the chat, to clarify, people should be able to view the forum content without an account, but you do need an account if you want to post anything or to subscribe.
That's correct. Yeah, that is correct.
Welcome on, Felix.
Hi.
Nice to
Hi,
see
everybody.
you.
Now, on your own posts, you can come back and you can edit any of the content. I mean, for example, in this the other day, I found a misspelling and I could come in and fix it. You can fix your own posts. You cannot fix others. You can edit them. You'll see over here, there are the controls that will allow you to do several things with it. Again, usually that's going to be on your own. Now, when we come to the forum homepage, if there's a category or a primary level section that you think needs to be added that is not here, then only people with certain administrative controls are able to add the top tier of topic or category. And so if there's one that you're not able to add that you think belongs at a higher level, please be sure to reach out to Nikki and we can easily add that or adjust any on the back end. We can adjust where topics are located. Some of these topics we may be able to even put in multiple categories if they belong there.
And I think if you go back to the forum, so he's going to click the breadcrumb here. Oh, darn it. I did put my email address at the top of the forum, but I don't think you can see it in his display. So there it is. So if you guys are having issues, let me know and Nate and I will help troubleshoot, or if you have ideas for categories that are missing.
So keep in mind, it's not perfect and we're still working through several bugs. And if you see anything that doesn't look or work right, feel free to let either me or Nikki know. And we'll work on getting that fixed or changed as needed. Because again, this is our first iteration of using the software. No software is perfect. It's always a work in progress. But we also need your help to find particular workflows or use case scenarios that we may not have tested in all of our testing. And so please feel free to submit any bugs or any trouble you have with it to Nikki or me. Nikki can make my email address available and we'll do our best to accommodate and or fix.
And Nate, you went over starting a topic, correct? And also replying.
I did. So
Great.
just so we're clear for any of you who may have joined us late, if we come to a topic and we want to reply, the text field to do it is at the bottom of the string, and you can mark it up. And you just simply type your text in there, tag it, and then submit it.
And we're really hoping that this will be a place to foster discussion between you guys, but also a great crowdsourcing of material where we can make each other's jobs easier. So we would love for you to put anything that's working for you, any resources you come across, but also just discussion this is a great place to have discussion and network and troubleshoot. My goal is to periodically go through the forum and make sure I'm plugging questions in to people who have might be able to help guide you and help get your questions answered. People on our board, people that are connected with APA for many years. So that's the goal too, is just to help, bring you guys expertise if you're having any planning struggles.
So for example, if I might add to that, Mill Creek City, I live in Mill Creek, so I get a lot of the stuff from our good buddy Francis over there at Mill Creek. I don't know if anyone from Mill Creek is on, but as a new city, they have a enormous job of trying to update a lot of the code and figure out their plan for the city, which has been an ongoing process over the past 7 or 8 years. And I got an email just the other day from Francis talking about how some of the items in the code were originally created, if I remember right, back in the 50s. And so what we're hoping is in situations like that, we can have content up here that will help all of you with your jobs so that you can be a great resource to each other, to help speed up and make everyone more efficient and ultimately make planning in the state of Utah better.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Feel free to unmute if you want to jump in. Mr. John.
What
Go
about
ahead.
verifying that you're a human? How does that work with the login? Because I see the pink box, but it doesn't seem to do anything. Oh, it's down at the bottom. Actually,
the
login thing.
The CAPTCHA.
Yeah, there's that, but it should have a password, right? And then you get in there, and there's a pink box that says "Verify you're a human," and I don't see what you're supposed to do.
Oh, are you talking about when you create an account? Is that right, John?
Well, apparently I've created one, but I don't have a record of what my password is. But nevertheless, before I can get all that, it's asking me for verifying that I'm human, and I don't see that box does anything.
And did you go through this process here of creating an account, or are you just trying to log in?
Well, I think I must have, because it's telling me I have an account. Sorry about that. I haven't touched this for a couple of months. So
No problem. We're just trying to replicate or find out where you're at and where you're seeing that if it's not giving you the CAPTCHA field to check.
Okay.
So perhaps you could take a quick screenshot and shoot it over to Nikki, and let's follow up to make sure either you get your login credentials or you get through that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and once we've answered some questions, if there's people who are struggling with a few things, I think we could probably stay on for a few minutes and help you guys troubleshoot. So John, you for sure, and it looks like Melissa Anderson also having a similar issue. We're trying to retrieve. Yep. Okay, so a few people said, ran into that as well. It showed I had an account potentially from signing up for the conference. Oh. Had to make a new account altogether. Yeah, it looks like similar issues for multiple. Okay, yes. But then she made a new
it sounds
account.
like everybody who's already got accounts within the system, correct? Who just need to, okay. All right, we can work through that.
Yes, thank you. And Tyson, if you want to stay on too, if you're struggling to get the account. And then as far as password retrieval, Nate, what remind me, it's been a while since we initially set all that up. What's the best course of action when you need to retrieve a password?
So when you go to click on this login or register button, there's this little link right here that says forgot password. And you should be able to just enter it right there and it should send a reset link. Again, if you have further problems with that, get in touch with Nikki. We can easily get your account reset or help you through that.
So that one keeps showing that same phrase, the please verify you are human.
When you click the forgot password,
Yep. Yep. And
Hey,
then let me
Don.
look.
Oh,
Let me see if something showed up. Nope, nothing showed up anyway.
reset link also asks you to verify. Nate, would you mind if John shares his screen? John, would you be comfortable with that?
I can. It doesn't show you
Okay.
very much.
Yeah.
Let me find
In
that on here.
case maybe
Share
helping
screen.
you might
Okay.
help. Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. And Nate, will you stop your share area?
Yeah.
Allow.
But as we get into troubleshooting a specific issue, before we do that, let's just make sure there are any other questions, because if not, then if any of you are having this issue, then we can work with you on that, to your prior point, Nikki.
Yes, that's true.
I have a couple questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I know I've gotten communications about this, but I can't remember for sure if this happened, and if it has not, I would make the recommendation on this. But I'm wondering, I believe that APA Utah had the list of everyone who was subscribed to the former listserv, and I'm wondering if you had emailed everyone that was on that listserv to invite them to join the current forum. And then second question when you're done with that.
Nikki, I'll let you handle that one.
Yeah, I think it was more the generalized forum invite via the e-blast for a few months, inviting people to sign up. And it's been a while, Nate. Did we send, do you remember? I mean, that probably would have been me. But
Yeah, it would have come from you, but Nikki, I don't even know if we got that data out of the
that's
listserv
right.
provider.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we
on that
we
topic,
asked and asked and asked. So, but I don't believe they could even export that for us. So it
okay,
just went to
well,
the generalist. Sorry, Brandon.
if that's all right. So I'm literally in a workspace that's across the hall from the MPO that used to, host that, and can, if there's, if you need that data, I can see if he can provide that, because I think that would be really effective in sending specifically out to people who are participating in the listserv to, help with the transfer, if possible, to this.
Yeah, I think if we can apply a little squeaky wheel coming from multiple sources, that would be most helpful.
And then I'm just curious, maybe, I don't know if you would allow responses from the larger group, but I'm wondering if someone has had an experience with actually getting, typing one of their, like creating a subject or typing an email in a subject and then getting these email updates, and how that worked for them, and whether there's a smooth process of whether the email actually came through and came through quickly.
That's a good point. And one note before anyone else replies to that, I realized that I had some stuff going into my spam recently. So please make sure to check that, and make sure just so you know, I just stumbled on some stuff from the forum heading to my spam.
Well, and we're trying to look into those issues as we're new in this process, because we got a couple of email security issues that we're trying to work through to try to prevent it from going to spam, and which is a wee bit of a process. But for example, I can show you, I don't know if I can share my screen again.
Megan says she's going to post a new topic to test the forum right now.
And if you're seeing my screen, here are all of the emails that I received on this particular post that Nikki sent. You'll see that the subject line will have brackets, and it has the topic, and then the category, and then the topic name. These all came from Nikki, and I pulled these up because these were the easiest to find in my email. But usually the from will be the name of the person either replying or the one creating the topic. Brandon, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess I just didn't hear. I guess Megan's testing that, but hadn't heard anyone's experience having, with the email. I think it's probably clear that based on the nature of my questions, that I think there is value to a push aspect to the forum. Because I know it can be viewed as sort of clogging inboxes, but I feel the opposite way about it, in that I don't always have time to go check another website. But if the information is brought to me, I don't have to take initiative or remember to check a form. And so the push aspect by pushing out an email to my inbox is extremely valuable. So whatever can be done to enhance that as a core feature of the forum is really important to me individually. I don't know if others feel the same or differently, but
Thanks
Yeah,
for
and
doing that.
yes. Yeah, and the hope I think is that for those of you who want to be notified, you have that option, but for those who really only want transportation information or grant information, you have that option as well.